Hello, my name is Joshua Fernandez, and today I'm solving intermediate algorithm scripting problem, sum all odd Fibonacci numbers. And for this problem, we're given a positive integer. So in this case, 10 is our positive integer, and we have to return the sum of all odd Fibonacci numbers that are less than or equal to our number. Let me just explain what Fibonacci numbers are. So Fibonacci numbers are a sequence of numbers starting at 1, comma 1, and it continues by adding the last number and the previous number. So for example, here, in our variable array, variable r, 1 comma 1 would be Fibonacci numbers, and then 1 plus 1 is 2, so 2 is a Fibonacci number, and then 2 plus 1 is 3, so, and then 3 plus 2 is 5. So that's how the sequence works. And what I'm gonna do, and also basically we need to find all the Fibonacci numbers that are all the odd Fibonacci numbers that are less than our number 10. So what that means is that the last Fibonacci number has to be less, the last odd Fibonacci number has to be less than 10. So in this case, it has to be less than our input number, so in this case 10. So let's just put in the Fibonacci values that are less than, so 5 and 8, and then, so these are all the Fibonacci numbers less than 10. All the odd Fibonacci's less than 10 are 1, 1, 3, and 5, because 2 and 8 are even, okay? So what we're going to have, I'm going to write out the code in Word format, and then we're going to translate that into code. So we're going to have a while loop that is, it's going to loop, so it's going to loop while our last num in odd array is less than or equal to num, our input value. So with the last num in odd array would be 1 here, in this case. So is 1, so 1 is less than 10, so the while loop would continue iterating until we encounter an odd number, that is greater than 10. Then the loop would stop. Okay? And so while the last number in our odd array is less than or equal to num, we're going to push into our array using dot push. We're going to push into our array the value of the last number in array plus the second to last number in our array. So last num in array plus second to last num in array. So so the last number in our array would be 1. The second to last number in our array would be 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So we're going to push 2 into the end of our array. Okay? And then we're going to have a filter. So odd is equal to array dot filter. So our odd array is gonna be our array, but we're gonna filter no, so only odd numbers. So we're gonna filter all the even numbers from our array, and that's going to go into our variable odd. And then the final step, not the final step, but the next step would be to add up all the numbers in our odd array. So, and we created a variable here called sum odd, and we set it equal to 0. But what we need to do is sum odd is equal to sum odd, or is equal to, odd dot reduce x plus y, whatever. So it's going to add up all the numbers in our odd array, so we get the total. And then we're going to return outside of our while loop. We're going to return the sum odd minus the last number in our odd Fibonacci numbers. Num in odd array. So that would, okay, so let me go through this. So while last number in odd array is less than, so let's presume that our input value is 10, okay? So while last number in odd array, which is 1, that's our last number, is less than or equal to 10, which it is, so 1 is less than 10, then we can push last number in array, not odd array, in our array, plus second to last number in an array. So that would be 2. So we're going to push 2 into our array. And then we're going to filter out. We're going to create an array called odd with only, and filter out the even numbers in our array in R. So odd would stay the same because 2 is an even number. So we're filtering out 2. And then sum odd is equal to odd dot reduce. So we're going to use the reduce method to add up all the numbers in our odd array. So sum odd would be equal to 2. Then we'd ask the same question. Is the last number in our odd array, which is 1, less than or equal to 10? It is, so therefore we're going to push the last number in our array plus the second last number in our array, which is 3, and then we're going to filter out all our even numbers in our array. And 3, but like I said, filter out 2, and we're going to use reduce to add up all the numbers in our array. So sum odd would be equal to 5, and then these steps would basically continue. So 5, and then 5, and then 10, and then 8, and 10 would stay the same, and then this becomes 13, and then this becomes 13, and that's when, oh yeah, and then this becomes 23, and that's when the while loop stops, because it's going to check if the last number in our odd array is less than or equal to num. 13 is greater than 10, so it's not going to go through another iteration of the while loop. And so now we're going to return sum odd. So we're going to return our total. Our sum odd is the sum of all odd Fibonacci numbers, but it says all Fibonacci numbers that are less than or equal to num, right? And num is 10, and 13 is greater than 10. So we're going to have to subtract. We're going to have to subtract 13, so our last number in odd array, from the sum of our Fibonacci numbers. Okay? So that's how we're going to return it. And then that's basically our answer. And then, so let me just post the code here. So this is the code of what I wrote here. So let me just go through this. While last number in odd array would be odd brackets odd dot length minus 1. So odd dot length minus 1 would be the last number in our odd array. So less than or equal to num. Then we'll create a, yeah, so our here is our odd variable that we're going to create with basically the values in our array minus all our even numbers. So that's just we're going to use filter method. And then here's when we're going to use reduce to add up all the values in our odd variable that has array with all our odd values. And then here is just where we push the last number in our array plus the second to last number in our array. So r dot length minus 1 plus r dot length minus 2. So this would be the last number in our array. This would be the second to last number in our array. And so we're adding those together, and we're pushing that sum into our array R. And and then we return sum odd, which is our total sum of odd Fibonacci numbers, and then subtract it by the last odd Fibonacci number, so that we have the sum total of odd Fibonacci numbers that are less than or equal to our number, our input number. So in this case 10. And yeah, that's it. So let's see if this works. So we're gonna run, and yep, it works fine. And yeah, that was intermediate algorithm scripting problem, sum all odd Fibonacci numbers, and this was definitely the hardest problem so far. I feel like I did not do a good job of solving this problem. I feel like my solution was too it was too complicated, and it wasn't as simple as the Freecodecamp solution. So my next video, I'm actually going to show the Freecodecamp solution, because I don't feel like my solution was adequate. I feel like I could have done a better job, and their solution's always also faster. So I'm going to be showing their solution of this problem. So thank you for watching.